Oh, there we go once again. It's that time. Let's see who's going to be coming out on top. And I suppose a pause is the first name of the game.
Only
Another
fitting.
crash.
Well, only fitting. Well, it
Yeah,
had
I
to
mean,
be.
come on now.
It had to be a crash.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, we can't get into a game completely cleanly in an alpha without there being an immediate crash from somebody. This time from we're looking at Lady Geist. I think the Naked Catgirls had the crash during the first one as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe looking at a new computer to play the new Deadlock game. Maybe some new specs. Get your FPS
Yeah.
up. Really get that computer firing on all cylinders. No, in all seriousness, obviously, some technical difficulties on the side of that player, but we got a chance to see briefly like where those lane matchups were going. And that's going to be another big question here in this one. We talked in game number 1 about how you wanted to have a ranged character in your pairings and a support character in your pairings as well, when in game 1, Cabal had 4 super close range and then 2 outside of that role. And I imagine it'll be the same thing. I would expect to see the Kelvin and the Dynamo paired with one of the more aggressive picks in those middle lanes. And that sure, Elton and Furnace paired together and Dynamo and Shiv paired together. Maybe even more interesting than that, though, is what Catgirl and friends have chosen to do. This Ivy really thrives when they're able to connect to someone, get that healing off, right? Act as a support character. But instead, for now, they've chosen to put Ivy in that solo lane role up against Hydration's Mo and Krill.
That's a very interesting matchup, to be sure. Hopefully, we could see Ivy try and find themselves a little bit they can do. Oh, no. Oh, Jer. What is it this time? Mouse issues. Okay.
This is the Cabal. This is the Cabal. So it's not the PC of Naked Catgirls and friends. This guy, Dynamo, says mouse issue, wire issue, and that means that we get to call we get to call him out for having a wired mouse instead of a wireless mouse. That is what that means.
Man, I still use a wired mouse. I don't want to hear that. Come on now.
I just moved to the wireless world just a couple of days ago, and I can already say I'm a changed person. I really, I'm just a completely different person. I feel like my hands are moving much better, much more seamlessly. My shots better. I've gone up 200 elo just in the last 24 hours. I mean, what can you say?
Well, here we go. It's that time once again. We're looking at 1-0 here in the finals. It looks like we're underway without too many issues now. So hopefully we'll see this continue on. And at least for the time being, we're looking at Naked Catgirls having a little bit of a Souls lead. Of course, still very early game. Neither side going to be determined off of this. And now let's see it. What's in store for us as we do move forward.
Yeah, my eyes are going to be glued to these side lanes, right? I mean, we see a lot of poke coming through in the dual lanes, but just with each dual lane having a bit of a supportive character, having a little bit of in-lane sustain, I'm not sure those are going to be as volatile. And I say that there's a lot of poke coming down, and Waylex is taken down. Sure, the first blood goes over to Catgirl and friends this time around.
Yeah, able to find themselves some good picks there. I mean, that's 2 first kills to go ahead and get us rolling. And this is a much better look in what we were looking for the side of Naked Catgirls to go ahead and pull things back into their favor. I mean, they've got themselves the sole lead once again. They're looking to try and exploit it a little bit further. They're playing pretty aggressive as well. It's been decent trades back and forth. We did see Pocket fall. Hydration just goes ahead, gets himself out of dodge, not necessarily wanting to overdo it. Can't really blame him on that.
Yeah,
and we're seeing them group up.
Yeah, 3v3 over on this left-hand side. I think it was first started by Catgirl and friends that had a 3-man grouping, so they just take their dual lane from orange and move it over towards that left-hand side. But no kills, able to come out instead, just continuing to trade some poke back and forth. But I mean, I've already been proven wrong. I'm going to continue on my point, though, because I still expect these solo kills to be, if we're going to find any major leads, it's going to come from those 1v1 matchups, right? Ivy finding something on Mo and Krill, Hydration maybe trying to trade something back on the other side. Both of these have one short-range character with a lot of burst and one long-range character who's going to win that poke fight, and I think that is pretty inherently volatile.
Yeah, no, it really can be, but for the time being, we're all tied back up here at 3 minutes. No one has the advantage except for Naked Catgirl and friends, who's back up by K. But, ooh, he gets out dodged just barely. I can't believe Vindicta's alive.
Definitely putting on the juke boots. Poke there, but I mean, already we're seeing a lot of transitions between these characters. Shiv going in and finds the turnaround back onto Waylex, as now it's Talon in a bit of a rough spot, trying to find the way out and will not find safety successfully. Vegas and Kerr able to combine for 2 there in the blue lane.
Yeah, no, able to go ahead, find out this picks, allow the side of the Cabal to put themselves up by K at least for the time being. Vindicta still poking away. We're seeing a little battle out of Lady Geist, not necessarily wanting to overdo it. Dynamo's putting down some good pressure. Well, to make their way forward, there's Shiv being eliminated out. The Cabal, another pick lost so far. We could see him force the issue, but I think that Pocket might be in a world of hurt if he's not too careful. He gets out of dodge just barely. They look to try and maybe follow it up onto hydration, and there it is. Lady Geist able to find the finisher. And just like that, they've got control of the lane, and they could look to try and exploit it.
One long-range shot grabs the last hit there. And early on, I mean, this is an impressive adaptation from Catgirl and friends, I think, that they are turning it around from game number 1, right? Game number 1, I didn't feel bad about their laning phase. It was fine. You know, they didn't fall too far behind in any of the scenarios, but they're immediately saying, we don't even want a traditional laning phase. They have been the one to force these 3v3s, 3v2s, try and find unfair engagements in their favor where they have a man advantage. Oh my goodness, that is Shiv damage for you, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit more needed, and he'll find the last hit onto Irie there, the Talon down to the gray screen.
No way. Yeah.
He will get traded out, though, at the very least. That's maybe the downside of trying to dive that far into the tower, but I mean, this fighting for a lot of what they're doing is being initiated by Catgirls.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're just trying to work off of it, and it's going decently. I mean, for the time being, it's still a very big back and forth. Lady Geist is incredibly low and needs to retreat. We'll be able to successfully. It looks like a little bit of pressure still looking to be applied. But I think they're going to be forced back by this. They're put into a 2v3. The advantage is still into their favor, but they don't want to overpressure it, and I can't really blame them on that. They know they could get caught out very easily, especially by that Kelvin.
They are seeing a little bit of a dive. The ultimate from Mach Hydration, able to get the last hit onto Catgirl, and that's the volatility we were mentioning. A little bit of solo potential. Grabs Hydration a kill onto the Ivy. Even though Lady Geist rotates, it's still pressure over there on the right-hand side, and maybe pressure gained by Cabal on the rest side of the map. That solo kill, right, having the tower down in the blue side means that they're open up a little bit more if they want to rotate and start to take these fights. In fact, looks like Shiv is chasing down Lady Geist right now as they escape towards the Guardian. But
that's it.
Oh my goodness,
There's
that
no
is
way.
the damage from Shiv. No way to survive. And that's the level that the Cabal are looking at right now. They are just in there.
Yeah, no, they're on top of it now. They've got themselves a little bit of a lead of 4K souls at this point. Still not too farly expanded, but it's starting to grow. See a Guardian falling. Yeah, just like that. They've expanded that lead from 3K to 6K in just a few seconds. And they're looking to pressure down onto the Walker as well. Lady Geist is going back over there to respond. It looks like we might see some rotates come through as well. Yeah, Ivy Pocket possibly looking to make the long-range run, but it might be too little too late. They will get forced off. Lady Geist is able to do the trick. Meanwhile, a fight between Shiv and Ivy could be looking to progress as well.
Some potential here. I think Shiv has been very active this game. That's something I want to point out because you know, we get to contrast it perhaps to the Shiv from last game. Hold that thought though. Under a little bit of pressure, Catgirl finds the last hit onto Yonder. Dynamo falls down. And you see some of the pressure that can come through when you have those groupings that Catgirls have been trying to force down. They may even get the Guardian here on the orange side as well. Looks like Shiv, a little bit poked down, maybe not willing to full defend this Guardian. So this should be a pickup from the side of the Catgirls. But I mean, even though he can't defend this one, this is a very large contrast between the Shiv that we're seeing this game on the Cabal and the activity of the Shiv that we saw last game on the side of Catgirl friends.
Well, now they're getting themselves decently aggressive. It looks like Kelvin could get caught out here. Looks like he will be able to escape due to the fact that we do see active player get himself in. Of course, Infernus makes an appearance as well, able to stun, but doesn't save his teammate. And for the time being, it's good trades back and forth. But of course, the Catgirls coming out on top, at least for the time being. Only one player down versus their two. Ooh, great talent! It's close, but hydration falls. But eventually, so does great talent. Oh, dear God.
The health, the healing coming through right as you're taking damage, and the shotgun's just not fast enough to get that trade. So Moa and Krill drops at the same time Talon gets traded out. But once again, macro play to the advantage of Cabal. They're able to take down yet another Guardian. They're able to trap Lady or trap Vindicta here at the very end of things. But looks like that. Oh my goodness! How is that speed come through? You get out from behind and Kelvin's trying to chase it down, but just does not have the damage, doesn't have it in the tank, and Vindicta somehow able to survive and turn it around with the long-range snipe last hit, and Vegas gets punished.
Yeah, no, absolutely punished by that. Of course, we do see the Catgirls. Actually, they pulled ahead of the Souls again. They've been able to go ahead and at least gain themselves a 2K lead. I mean, just like that, the Cabal, they're feeling the pressure at this point. Catgirls are putting up a very good performance into this. It looks like we could see another Guardian fall here in just a second. Infernus goes to try and save it.
We'll do so for the time being.
There it is. That's it.
Yeah. Not able to fully do it when you have a ranged character like that. Hard to fully defend, but I mean, this chase down might be a punish, is just taking that tick damage stuck underneath the bridge, and an LOL thrown out there from the Infernus player on the Cabal. Able to at least trade one for the tower going down, but still, I mean, even though the Souls lead is pretty even, it's even a little bit in favor of Catgirls, this map pressure is definitely feeling in favor of the Cabal.
Yeah, no, they've been able to go ahead and find themselves a bit of an advantage. Of course, if we could see AP, that would be fantastic to see where things are starting to stand a little bit further. But, as we can't. It just looks like we'll see this starting to be played out patiently once again. I think we're going to see that patient style of Deadlock looking to try and maybe find the dominance again. That's where the Cabal were really able to thrive there previously.
Right, in that mid-game style. And we have seen that 10-minute mark broached, right? So that Spirit Urn's going to spawn, mid-boss is going to be on the map, and maybe this is the point where they're looking for some fights. Abrams slowed down, and Shiv, maybe, I thought he was going to be backed up, but he's actually the one going in. So four members here on the left-hand side. His team joins him, though. Slowed down. Kelvin taken down as Irie turns it around, is able to trade 1 for 1. Sniper coming through, a second shot from Panay takes another one down, and a 2 for 1 trade. Shiv is hiding in the corner here, but I don't know that he'll be able to stay alive. Maybe instead of the run from him. Sure, what a crazy turnaround. Sure, looking for the final bit of damage, and he won't find it, but an amazing display of skill there. Ultimately, it's Catgirl and friends coming out on top.
Oh, that was such a scary little moment there. I thought for a second there we're going to see Great Talon fall as well. Instead, the Amber Walker starts to get pressured down. Great Talon applying that. Just going to go ahead, play into the retreat. Doesn't necessarily want to overfight. And I mean, that was a big fight for the side of Catgirls to come out on top on, to go ahead and at least keep the soul difference at a minimum. And unfortunately, another pause, another crash coming from Panay.
Vindicta falls out of the game once again. You got to think with the pressure that the PC is feeling from all these snipes coming through, there's only so much skill that the PC is able to process, right, on that CPU. And so gonna force the reset. This is why they've been pressure picking this Vindicta, I have to say, because even in round 2 and game 1, now here again in game number 2, they are top 3 picking this Vindicta. And after Panay came away as the MVP in round number 2, I really can't blame them. I mean, these snipes maybe not as impactful in game number 1, maybe struggle to play the game, when you have so much pressure that you're playing into. But I think a lot of the Catgirls' success, in addition to these groupings, the forced odd man skirmishes, some of these snipes coming through are downright impressive.
Oh yeah, no, they really are. That one snipe onto who was it? Oh shoot, I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, I'm
Calvin
losing
on the
it.
left side, the long
Yeah.
range one onto Vegas. Yeah.
It was absolutely enormous. Just a quick 180 to find it to close that player out. Well, I mean, it leaves us in this position. We could be looking at the side of Catgirls to really put down a little bit more pressure. They've been able to kill out one Walker here, while the side of the Cabal just haven't been able to get to it just yet. I mean, it's just good pressure all around, keeping things nice and even. Of course, the Cabal, they've started to gain ahead in souls once again. They're up by 4K. But I think this is just going to be played out in the backlines once again. I mean, we're going to be looking to see where Catgirls decide to put on the pressure and see how it's responded to by the Cabal. I mean, that's how these fights have gone down each and every time. And over the past couple, I mean, Vindicta's been such a pivotal moment and pivotal player to pull things back.
Yeah, I mean, my surprise maybe is the Solern in this game just has not really been, like, nobody even wants to fight over it at all at the moment. Maybe it's Dynamo picking up, no, he's just passing over, and this will be a huge fight start. He grabs 2 with the ultimate, and it looks like they'll be able to trade out Ivy early on. That healing comes through, at least slows things down, but Jur able to find that last hit. Now chasing down a couple more members here. The gap closed from Shiv is so powerful, and he grabs 2 in that one. And now the entirety of the Cabal heading towards that orange lane, maybe looking for another Walker.
Yeah, no, they could be able to go ahead and find out the second one to give themselves quite a bit of extra souls along with getting themselves into a good position with AP. Yeah, it's just going to fall immediately. Owl does come through to try and get off a little bit of poke damage, but I don't think it's going to be able to net enough. Meanwhile, we do see Lady Guys putting down pressure along with Pocket, looking to try and pressure down Walker of their own. I mean, if they can find out that could start to even things out in a really good way. But for the time being, they're just not able to get to it. There it is. Able to finish it off eventually. I mean, this keeps them in the running. They're just down by a K again. And just like that, actually, they've gained the advantage, up by 2.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would call the game effectively even, right? You have a couple individual leads, notably the Kelvin and the Dynamo, pretty far down in comparison to the rest of the team on the side of the Cabal. And on the other side, you have the Talon a little bit farther down and the McGinnis a little bit farther down. But to be honest, I think you have the leads on the players who want them. I would rather have my Mo and Krill at 16,000, right? Get him farther ahead in his build. Get the Vindicta a little bit farther ahead in their build, making sure they're the ones with the primary damage output. So they're farming, paying a little bit more mind towards where that farm is coming from. But importantly, looking at map pressure, it's also pretty even, right? Earlier on, we saw the gold lead favoring Catgirls, but the map pressure was very in favor of the Cabal. They had done damage, taken down all the Walkers, done damage to a couple, or taken down all the Guardians, rather, done damage to a couple of the Walkers. At this point, though, 2 Walkers down for either side. You can kind of have the freedom to push any lane you want. I would say the pressure is in the hands of either squad now. The question is, you know, where do either of these teams want to force a fight? It's actually going to be right here onto the Mo and Krill, taking out a little bit low. It's a full-on engagement just over a jungle camp.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not going to pan out for the Cabal there initially, nor for the side of Naked Catgirls. They lose 2. Of course, Mo and Krill did eventually fall. We do see them trying to put down a little bit more, but I don't think they'll overpress too much here.
Whoa.
Ooh. Naked along with the Pocket. Falling there. That's a bit brutal. And we're going to see the pressure onto the base Guardians. Looking to get off at least some initial damage there.
And not falling too fast. You can see maybe the hesitancy there. I'm not sure they had a full minion wave to work with, but at this point, they're the ones being chased down. Looks like things will slow down, so they'll be able to get away with their lives. They do use that time to take another Walker away, though. So the Cabal came away. I think they killed 4 there in that engagement, and that's going to be a 10,000 soul lead. So they're able to come away with at least something, take down another Walker. But still, I mean, this is not a soul lead I feel super comfortable with just dominating a fight or starting a mid-boss. They're going to have to continue to do a lot more and treat this team with, you know, the amount of damage that can come out in an instant is very high from either side. Yeah, no, it really is. And I mean, so one thing I want to note really quickly, look at Kelvin along with Dynamo. They're camping the Solarn. But Ivy has none of it, man. He's just waited. Wait, you're right. Ivy's just farming it up. Hasn't even gone towards the thing.
He knows. He's like, there's going to be
line.
2 here. He's waiting for his teammates to back him up for this fight. He knows that this is going to be a heavy fight as well that could determine things in terms of soul count. It could turn things around all the way. And this fight, this is going to be a heavy fight. Look at this. It looks like this is going to be nearly full team out of both these squads. Both of them reading into this. Ivy gets caught. There's the ult, but the souls have gone off. Of course, we do see Kelvin go ahead and activate his ult. It's not going to be able to net anything, though. And they retreat on back there immediately, and just like that, the Catgirls, they brought themselves back into this, just down by 4K souls, and now they're going to look to see if there's an extra elimination they can find off the back of this.
They grab the solar, and can they grab the fight as well? All 6 players here from both sides, and it's the Cabal who strike first blood. Active player in the Abrams takes down Naked, and a little bit more damage as Yonder finds one. Vegas finds a third, and it's all of a sudden 3 to the gray screen. 30-second death timers here for the members of Naked Catgirls and Friends. Lady Geist trying to stay alive. Penne able to at least trade one. Pocket falls down. Almost all 6 off the map. But I mean, I'll tell you what, you'll take 5 for 6. That's going to be a mid-boss opening.
Yeah, no, they're going to be able to go ahead and look to exploit this. This is where they could be looking to try and end it, of course. I mean, just looking to try and get this rejuve off to allow themselves to maybe make a push off it, find at least a couple of base guardians. That'll be the name of the game. It doesn't look like a contest will come through. Can't really blame Naked Catgirls for that. They were just too far in the respawns to maybe look for a steal.
Yeah,
but for the time being, they're just going to flex back. They don't want to overfight that. They know that things could hang in the balance really quickly. Last time we saw Cabal get the rejuve, they went ahead and looked to play for the fight, and they lost 3 there in the first map.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and now you're in maybe a similar spot to where you were in that first map. It's not as much with the souls, right? I mean, around the 20-minute mark in game number 1, I think it was a 30 to 40,000 soul lead in favor of the Cabal. So, you know, not as far down there, but the entirety of the Cabal having this rejuvenator buff outside of Dynamo, that's going to make sure that you have, right, 1, empowered minion waves, so you get a little bit of benefits on the push here, but 2, you're going to have lower respawn timers, so you can be a little bit more aggressive here, as it looks like they're taking advantage of it. They are gearing up to start a fight, push down one of these lanes, either blue or orange, as, once again, all 6 players, both sides, here grouped up, waiting for somebody to find the engage.
Yeah, no, they're looking to see where this can come out of. Of course, a little bit of damage being poked at back and forth. No one's really been able to find something to say, okay, we need to focus on this player. So for the time being, it looks like instead, Cabal are just going to opt to go and say, hey, let's take out this Walker. Let's just try and clear these lanes, give ourselves a bit of a boost. As they do just that, gaining themselves a little bit of extra soul. Catgirls, they're starting to fall dangerously behind. Ooh, and Ivy, you're about to get caught here.
Little bit of pressure, but the teams are split at this point. Only a couple members on this side. Abrams falling low. He's gonna have to pull up a miracle if he wants to turn this one around, and he just does not have enough in the tank. Doesn't have the support from his team. Meanwhile, on the other side, his team is doing a little bit of split pushing, trying to take down some of these base guardians and maybe find a couple of kills on their own. Instead, another trade. Hydration now falling down. Catgirls are defending their base right here, but it's still trying to be turned around. Cabal are fighting back, and Benet falls down. Jur finds another. His pocket falls. Kelvin so low, able to just barely survive, but they are not done on this push.
No, they're not done with it just yet. Ivy in a very rough position, about to lose his life as well. We'll see the side of Naked Catgirls put into a very brittle position in terms of being able to hold this. They're down by a couple of thousand souls, to say the least, but I mean, they've been able to put up some decent pressure. Chev, along with Kelvin, decently low. I don't think they'll want to overfight that. Certainly Molten Krill does. Hydration just jumping onto the first shrine, finds it immediately. We'll see an owl come out, looking to see if there's damage that can go down to maybe find a pick. But I think that's going to be the disengagement.
They are starting to back off. It looks like you're right. I think all of the members of the Cabal, no real desire to fight. They got what they were looking for. Not only did they knock down a couple of those base guardians on the right-hand side of the map, but they also unlocked that last flex slot by killing that shrine in the base on the right-hand side. So now you are looking to finish out your builds. Already, like Mo and Curl, you can see has one of those level 4 items. I believe that's the leech coming through. Right, just trying to make sure that he can survive. So very powerful. I expect hydration to be, and this is once again the time to go back and farm. While they've been pushing, not only have they been stealing the enemy jungle, but they haven't gotten a chance to go back to their jungle. They're doing the soul learn. They're clearing out their jungle, and sure enough, soul lead exploding a little bit, right out to about 15,000. It'll be even more after they capture this soul urn, as they start now 20,000, a little bit more, but. Got to make sure they don't give up too much in the process. Kelvin under some pressure here on the right-hand side, and Vegas, unfortunately, gives up a pick.
Yeah, no, at least a good low pick to go ahead and get us rolling, of course. I didn't even realize there was a Guardian still in the works here. We will see Shiv fall as well. So, hey, I mean, right now, we're seeing the side of Catgirls trying to crawl their way back into this, and they could be able to do it as well. Ivy going ahead, putting the pressure onto the Walker along with Lady Geist. Now, as they just put it down, I mean, they should be able to shred this thing to pieces here. And yeah, there it is.
Find the
They're
objective.
at least limiting this. The damage is so substantial.
Look at the other side, though. Look at the base, because Abrams and Mo and Curler are just happy to be pushing this one down. Looks like they were able to finish off the base guardian there. So now only half of the remaining base guardians on that left side of the map. So playing a little bit of macro across the map. You know, they lost a couple of players. They found their opportunity. They knew that they didn't want to take an uneven fight after that. So, I mean, honestly, props to Cabal for making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah. And alrighty, well, I mean, this is gone decent. Like, they've been able to go ahead and limit this down. At least the damage is so substantial for either side. We do see hydration still just poking away, not necessarily wanting to overdo it. His teammates have joined him. It does seem like we're seeing naked Catgirls getting prepared for this fight over on blue. It seems, no, they back off of it. I thought maybe they might try and go for a little bit of something.
Yeah, this in game number 1 was where we saw the game sort of stagnate. In fact, I think it was a little bit earlier than this that we started to see the Cabal just really play the waiting game, wait for somebody to step into the wrong position, see if they could find any picks, but also remember how fast that game ended. That was a 28-minute game, and it all sort of stemmed just from one fight 3 minutes before the end that just led into staggered deaths, led into the ultimate end of the game. And I expect Cabal to do much the same if they're going to try and win the same way. Catgirls have to be thinking how they want to counter that sort of style of play. And I think it's very similar to game number 1. You are trying to find picks of your own. You are trying to find opportunities where you are the one in control. You maybe catch a member out. You maybe have a big team fight ult. The difference is they don't have the dynamo this time. They don't have the big team fight ult necessarily, but they do have the 2 snipers.
Yeah,
and when you're thinking about the 2 snipers, the different sight lines on the map, I mean, one raw pick, one misstep from Shiv, from Mo and Crow, you've seen how aggressive these players can be. That's, I think, why they're being so careful. Just, I mean, their heads can be taken off from across the map.
Well, now we're going to see Shiv go ahead and activate a little bit. Gets tacked down. He might have been a bit over-aggressive there, just stunned out of his mind. He's incredibly low at this point. Dynamo goes ahead and ults up as well. We do see Calvin jump in as well with the ball. It doesn't work out in the long run, though. We will see the initial fall. Still, the fight seems to continue. And it looks like we're going to be seeing this Cabal come out on top. We've seen 2 fall away. Shiv did ultimately fall. We're looking at Vindicta still trying to maybe salvage this. Gets a bit aggressive with it, though. Loses it due to it. And Ivy just caught out.
Yeah, the entirety of the team. There's just too much damage coming through from Cabal. And this might be, I mean, it'll definitely be the mid-boss. The question is, are they dead long enough to continue a push into the base for this one because you have the entirety of the team here. Only member not alive is Shiv, and he actually has the lowest respawn timer out of everyone on the map, so he can just hop on a zip line, making sure that he's joining his team. McGinnis actually, I don't know if this is the best contestation from Naked here as he gets deleted in front of 4 members of the enemy team.
I mean,
that makes... Yeah,
I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing. I love the attempt. It's something. It is something to work with. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work, I suppose. So I suppose it was a failed attempt. But regardless, we're going to see Vindicta caught on outs, and that's another pick to come on through. That's 2 players falling. That's going to be them going ahead and looking to focus down the Patreon after finding maybe a kill onto Pocket. Well, it looks like he'll be able to survive for a little bit longer. I doubt he's got too much more life in him. As the shrine falls, the patron now exposed. We should be looking at the Cabal to finish this here in just a moment's time as they go ahead and break the initial phase and to get into the second.
They delay the death timers. They are once again working on the same phase. Pocket sent to the grave, and they're trying to do the exact same thing. They're just staggering the death timers and dumping all the damage they can into the patron. And a clean 2-0 at the end of the day. Dominant performance coming out from Cabal. They'll be the winners of your first ever Downtown Showdown tournament.
Yeah, absolutely excellently done